Hey guys, how's it going? Just coming at you with another video here. Yeah, I know, it's kind of been a while since I've done one of these, so just checking in. Um, I guess the reason why I haven't been checking in as much is, if I'm being honest, I really haven't had much desire to do so. That's I wouldn't have anything to talk about. I just didn't really want to, if I'm being honest. So, since I'm doing one now, I'm checking in. So here we go. So for anyone who's ever been watching my videos the last or as long as I've been for as long as I've been uploading them, I do appreciate it, even no matter how sporadic they've been. So and I appreciate that. And the last time I took an extended hiatus was without a computer, and I have one now. And like I said, I just haven't really had the motivation or desire to put out any content. So there's that. Uh, um, so how have I been? Well, things have been happening, just hanging in there. Um, oh, and Happy New Year, by the way. We're in the year 2024, so there's all that. As of now, I'm still living in my granddad's office, compared to the room I've been living in since I've been living in my grandparents' house. But so I'm always on my own. So, but this is kind of where I'm at right now, where I'm going forward. So I always, as far as the foreseeable future is concerned, to my knowledge. So, um, how are things on my end? Uh, well, we're a couple days into the New Year, so um, uh, I'm gonna be one thing for sure. I'm 31 at the moment. I'm gonna be 32 next month. I'm a February child, so got that going for me. Um, it's gonna be with the new year having started. I hope to do a couple conventions. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do every one I might like to do, but hopefully a couple. Um, and if I do, hopefully I'll be able to put out a video. We're gonna try to be consistent on that in terms of like when I do attend a convention, I try to do a video on it and tell you my experience and how I felt. So there's that. Um, because because I got to do two conventions last year: Annapolis Comic Con, which I've been to before, and Awesome Con last year as well. Because I just kind of wanted to pump out a couple of videos I've been meaning to pump out and all that. And after that, just kind of lost interest. Um, but hopefully I'll do more. So, but yeah, like I said, I hope to do a couple cons this year, and which ones, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Annapolis Comic Con again, hopefully, Awesome Con, and maybe maybe even Baltimore Comic Con, because I've been to those three events before, and maybe I'll get to do a convention I haven't done before, but we'll see. But last year there've been a couple ones I wanted to do, but never did. I wanted to go to Ocean City Comic Con, but I didn't get to go. There was another one I was eyeballing called Stellar Con, which is up in Delaware, and just in my state of Maryland, but it's out of county. So there was a couple other cons I wanted to do called Farpoint Convention and Shore Leave. They used to be situated in a hotel in Hunt Valley, but that uh, hotel has gone belly up. I don't know why. I've never been there before. Um, so Shore Leave itself is going to be doing move to Lancaster, which is up in Pennsylvania. So if things go according to them, they'll stay there, but we'll see what happens, because it was previously one of our conventions here in Maryland. But whether it's going to be they're going to be a mainstay in PA, but Farpoint is staying in Maryland. It's going to be in Pikesville. So, but even then, they've been on my horizon. I just haven't gone, and part of me wishes I'd been able to do so while they were in Hunt Valley. There's two separate events, but they just share the same venue. So yeah. Um, but just I guess I've just wanted to do some cons, but more than I've been able to, just couldn't. Because you know, part of it has to do with not always having the means to travel. So yeah. Um, well, another thing too is that throughout 2023, my dad's been in and out of the hospital a couple of times for health reasons and all that. Reason being a little bit vague is because the personal lives of my family and my friends and all that, that's their lives. So I don't want to go for privacy reasons. I don't want to go too much detail. So, and least of all, I don't want to make it sound like I'm doxing anybody if I especially if I have no business to do so, because doxing's not right. So, but it was just, I can say it's just for health reasons because it's a hospital. So, but he's doing as good as he can be, and take care of them all. So, I mean, believe me, it's a job now. So, um, there's that. And then you've kind of been, and when it comes to watching TV shows and movies, I'm caught up on season 3 of Mando, and I've seen all of Ahsoka. If you know me, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. How I was able to watch all that is because, you know, um, my aunt and uncle are sharing Disney Plus with us, so you know, I hope I'm not doxing anybody by saying that. So, because that's just, you just have that concern. So, but just we have access to it without actually having a subscription. But you can sometimes you can share your streaming services with people. And that's what's going on. So, yeah. So, I remember, I think I may have mentioned in times past that one of the shows I was watching was Entourage. I'm all finished with that, and I know they put out a movie which was released in 2015. I saw that too. So, other than that, I really haven't been watching a whole lot. I have been watching. I have been watching Digimon Tamers, which I have a fact. Um, I have a box set of it of Digimon right here, but it goes everything from an OG Adventure to Frontier. But um, when I was last time I was between computers and all that, I was watching on my laptop here. It kind of derailed me, so I had to finish. Oh, I have Hulu, so why couldn't I watch it there? I don't know. Yeah, my own logic doesn't make sense to me. I can tell you that. So, but I should probably just finish where I'm at right now. So, and after that, get to Frontier, and then um now shit. There was a couple DVDs of mine that just dropped. Don't worry about it. It's all right. I do have this right here. It's a volume of the first few episodes of Data Squad. But I wish I had the entire a set of has the whole series, not just one or two episodes. But I have that for whatever that's worth. So, but other than that, I'm not really watching a whole lot right now. If there are any shows you think I should watch, I'm open for a maybe recommendation or two. Just tell me what you think I should be watching. I knew that maybe if I have the interest, I'll check it out. But anyway, there's all that. And another thing too, got something disappointing to say. My dog Cosmo. May have mentioned her in times past, and may have shown her once or twice on camera. She passed away. She was a border collie. And I think it was just old age and mobility problems too. And there was a touch of internal bleeding according to our vet, and it's just there was nothing that looked good, so she was put down. and just we had to let her go. I Yeah, I was very sad when that happened. I'm doing better now. I've come to terms with it, but you know, um, but that's the thing about pets, and it is not even human yet. We love the hell out of them, and I spent 13 years of my life with Cosmo, and you loved her, So I got her back in 2010 when she was 3 months old. I was about a month away from finishing high school, and then she passed away last June. So so I missed that dog, and it was maybe about 6 months after. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm mentioning it now. In December of 22, I lost my grandma's dog, Pierre. Um, and then losing Cosmo was about 6 months later. So because I know I may have mentioned this before in a past video, but I lost my grandma. We're still living in her house, in my grandparents' house. So you know, Alzheimer's kind of got to her. So at this point in time, I'm out of grandparents. So I've come to terms with it. I live with it. It's all you can do. So, but yeah. But like I said, I miss Cosmo and I miss Pierre. They were good pups. So, yeah. Um. And so, if anything else, yeah. Well, speaking of June, this happened an earlier in the month of last June, of course. There's a few days before we wound up putting Cosmo down. Um, I went to an alumni event at my high school, Hannah Moore School, because if I've mentioned in past videos, I've done that. I've always enjoyed doing so. But uh, went one. There was a bit of a catch though. It wound up being the last one because they wound up closing their doors. And from what I heard, I think we have the Shepherd Pratt healthcare system in the state of Maryland, and since I graduated, it was a merger of our school and them, and they've merged with maybe another school or two called Forbush, which was one of our rivals when it comes to playing sports and all that. Football, basketball, softball, and all that. But from what I heard, the powers that be did not re-up their contract in terms of using our building, which was in Reisterstown. So they, so I'm closing up shop. So it's kind of a bummer when you outlive your alma mater, but it lived a good long life. So and I always enjoyed going to alumni events whenever I could. So, well, if there are any more to be had in the future, hopefully it'll be. Hopefully I can go to one, go to them or whatever, and whenever and wherever they may be, and hopefully we'll have a good time like I have done in past times. So, but having said all that, it was kind of cool to encounter familiar staff members like teachers and all that. And it was kind of great catching up with old friends, So yeah, so there's all that. Okay. Um, Especially since I have 3 yearbooks right here because they were getting rid of yearbooks from times past. I picked up 3 that I was in, because this was for me from sophomore year, 2008, junior year, senior year. Anyway, I'm gonna get distracted. Sorry, but that was kind of zoning out. But anyway, I started there as a sophomore because I spent freshman year at another high school, and I don't have that yearbook though. So yeah, an interesting thing is the 3 that I was just showing off. I picked them up each year I was there at Reisterstown, but I don't know what happened to them because it took us a while for my dad and I to move in over here. So maybe they're just somewhere around the house. I just don't know where to look. Along with some of my other items, because they have been moved over here before Dad and I did, and that would be the preferable scenario in terms of some of my items that I don't know where they are. Is that they're somewhere around here, just don't know where. So I just picked these 3 up as replacements. And not to mention, I also have a yearbook from when I was in the 8th grade. I don't know what happened to that one either. Hopefully I still have it. So, but in the meantime, these are whole milk. So, yeah. Another thing too. I've also picked up a few items that have online, like eBay, Amazon, things like that. Because I remember a while back I did videos about some of the Amazon buys I picked up after that point in time. What else did I pick up? I guess just to show off a few items, and pardon me for getting up when I do this. And I'm also talking about, and I might also show off a couple Christmas items that I got for Christmas recently. Let's see here. Let's see here. Uh, let's see. For Christmas, I got a pair of pants from my aunt. They got like different kinds of liquor on it. Um, uh, got a couple Star Wars shirts, a couple Vader and a couple Stormtroopers in a similar design to the album Abbey Road by the Beatles. See, I got a shirt with Vader on it, and I also, as far as toys are concerned, I got a Black Series Ezra Bridger. For the Rebels as a series, it was one of the animated television shows from Disney. It had 4 seasons to it. This is him from seasons 3 and 4, because if you look, you can see his lightsaber. It's green. Not to mention, he carries a pistol. It's a DL-44. It's the same kind that Han Solo carried. So he carried a pistol with his lightsaber. And also, another thing I got was from my uncle was an ornament that's of a Harley Davidson bike. So motorcycle. So got that. So, what else did I get? Now, items that I bought with my own personal money. Let's see. Got a cosplay jacket. It's the one that Poe Dameron initially wore in The Force Awakens before Finn goes hands on it, because Poe is presumed dead. It's a flight jacket, and when they saw each other, if you've seen this movie, it's like, oh no, keep it. You looks good. Fine. I also have a bomber jacket that Poe wore in Episode 8. I know he pointed out one of those most recent video I did in my room upstairs. I pointed out in the closet, hey, they're just worth there saying, if you know what that jacket looked like, if you've ever seen The Last Jedi and you saw Poe wearing that jacket, if you have some idea, in fact, let me just show, don't tell. Looks something like this. Now, this one I think is more of a blazer, whereas the one I was just showing off was is leather. So, where am I keeping this one? Seeing as I'm in my granddad's office, there's another room that goes in it. It's a workshop. Yeah, it's been there for long as I can remember. So it's like a room within a room. I was able to hang it over on a hanger behind the door. So whereas this one I keep it in a dresser I have, it's off screen right now. So um, one of the few drawbacks I feel that I have about living downstairs is my closet space is kind of limited right now. So if I ever do pick up any more jackets, where am I going to keep them? So um, let's see another thing too. I picked up. Um, let's see. Um, 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 I picked up this book. It's the Visual Dictionary from Solo. I have a visual dictionary for episodes 7, 8, 9, and Rogue One. I just picked this one up to complete the set. So there's that. Um, sorry if I'm always getting her up and doing things. The whole part of being prepped. um, here we go. I also got this book right here. Now I've showed off a couple copies of uh, in this particular series of books, Encyclopedia of Presidents. Because when it comes to knowing anything about history, I know a thing or two about presidents. But when it comes to this series of books, Encyclopedia of Presidents, uh, it goes up to Clinton, and even then it only goes up to maybe his first year in office. And I think it's meant for, I'm sure, for maybe a bit of younger readers, but I'm sure adults can enjoy these books too, and more power to you if they do. But yeah, I mean, I have a few, so picked one up on FDR. So, so, um, well, I always say this: um, if you're doing it, studying it, if you're studying the president anyway, hopefully these books and they can come in handy if you feel like they do come in handy. So, um, that's at least edition in that particular series of books. Um, so there's that. And the most recent item that just came in not too long ago, this. If you're wondering what it is, it's a Power Rangers morpher. If you ever watched Power Rangers in a way, you might know that MMPR and Mighty Morphin through in space was kind of an ongoing story arc. Plenty of Rangers came and went. Some of them wore more than one color. And starting with Lost Galaxy, it's every year it produces a new team, new season, new cast. Which, by the way, I did another one of the shows I watched was Cosmic Fury. Which is kind of a continuation of Dino Fury, which is, I think, calling it the Fury Saga is probably an apt title because 2 seasons of Dino Thunder and 1 of Cosmic Fury. And I also saw Once a Rain. That's Overdrive. Once and Always, which is the Netflix special. And I will say it is kind of nice to have an anniversary, and that's actually met with mostly warm reception because past times they've been met with mixed reviews at best, terrible at worst. So, but if you go back, and I was saying about this thing, if you go back and watch In Space, it's much of the time, seasons start off with maybe 5 people and then they get a 6th ranger. But sometimes they'll deviate from that formula, and a lot of that's based on Super Sentai. But In Space was one of many seasons where it starts off with 5 people, then 1 more comes in. The color scheme is red, black, blue, yellow, pink, and silver. Silver was the 6th ranger. Everybody else was 5 people. Red, blue, black, yellow, pink. Now, In Space, they're the core 5. They're morpher, and they wear on the wrist, and they say, when they morph, they go, let's rock it, and then boom. If you've ever watched any episode of that particular season, you know what I'm talking about. And the 6th ranger, Silver, his name is Zane, the character, he's morpher himself then. And as a character, he's the first Power Ranger, or 6th or otherwise, who morphs as a cell phone, and it's a common staple. Since not every season has a cell phone based morpher, but there are plenty to go around. Wild Force was the first season where everybody on the team has cell phones, but at the time in Space first aired, Zane was the only one who's who has one because like you know there are plenty of like uh, uh, teams of 5 plus a 6 ranger where maybe the team of 5 has one kind of morpher, but the 6 ranger has another kind. And if 6 ranger, if their morpher is the same kind as everyone else, maybe it might be a variant. Like if you watch Mighty Morphin, for example, how they have belt buckles. The core 5 they have it's colored silver, but Tommy is colored gold. You see what I'm saying? So, but in space is one such case where the core 5 has one kind of morpher, the 6 ranger has another kind. So, a wrist morpher and a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what it looks like when it's closed, and this is what it looks like opened. I'd like to pick up the wrist morpher at some point whenever that happens. So I have a couple other morphers, but seeing as it took us a while to move in over here, I'm not sure where some of my items are. And like I said before, I don't mean to repetitive. I hope they're somewhere around here in the house. I just don't know where to look. But this is one of the few morphers that I have right now in my possession. Yes, hello. It's for you. But I'm just being silly. But it's a cell phone morpher. If you're interested in doing a video, of me doing a review for this, of this toy, let me know. Maybe I'll do it. I haven't done a toy review in a while. At least, well, not one of a morpher. So, maybe I'll do it anyway, but I don't know. But you let me know. But what else is there to talk about? I've been kind of keeping up with world events. Like right now, there's the whole thing that's going on in the Middle East with Palestine and Israel. Like Hamas was being hawkish and Israel is doing this. That's something else and a half, isn't it? Where do I stand in all that? I mean, I hope the best for all the Israeli civilians and the Palestinian civilians. But you hear about all these pro-Israel people and all that. Like, I mean, I know that from what I understand, the Israeli government does leave a lot to be desired. And especially with them like slaughtering bunches and bunches of innocent people. It's like, I'm on the side of innocent civilians, I can tell you that. And there's been a lot of calls for a ceasefire, and yeah, it's probably a good idea that we should get one. Do whatever we can to get peace, if possible, and stop all this needless bloodshed. Now, Israel as a country, I'm sure there's some awesome people over there. But like I said before, the government, from my understanding, leaves a lot to be desired. Now, I've heard a call for a 2-state solution, but I've heard that at this point in time, maybe a 1-state solution is better. Now, I'm not 100% informed in all of that, but just based on my limited knowledge, I don't know, whatever needs to happen in order to make things right, I don't know how, when, or whatever, but it doesn't help that Biden is kind of aiding and abetting, in this genocide as president, when you hear about like Israel has a right to exist and it must defend itself. Sure, I mean, okay, yeah, it's like I don't believe in just wiping that country off the map. Far from it. That's fucked. But it just doesn't mean I approve of the government, though. And I'm not trying to be anti-Semitic in any way, of course, far from it. Especially since you hear about from the river to the sea, critics of that statement, oh, you're just trying to wipe Israel off the map. It depends on who's saying it. Like uh, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib from Michigan, she's of Palestinian descent, and she explains what she means when she says that, and she's not doesn't mean it from a hawkish perspective, and she's got some room to talk too, because as mentioned, she's got Palestinian ancestry. So now, if you're Hamas on the other hand, and then then that might be anti-Semitic to say, because that. Yeah. But then again, I'm not maybe an entire expert in the Middle Eastern affairs, and especially when it comes to Hamas and Hezbollah and this, that, and the other. But still, I just hope for all. I just hope the best for all involved and stop all this bloodshed. So, but I have to wonder though, and as I've mentioned plenty of times in past videos, I voted for Biden. I didn't like doing so, but I did. And that's coming from someone who lives in Maryland, which is a solidly blue state. So I wonder, do I have blood in my hands? I mean, I've never killed anybody. I've killed people in video games, but that's just me being a gamer. That's not the same as real life. I mean, I've never killed anybody in real life. But I voted for the man who did. So I mean, I don't know. So I mean, it's likely going to come down to a rematch between Biden and Trump, and we can do so much better. I mean, especially since you're those who are hardcore Biden stands vote for him because democracy. I mean, even though any candidates that are running against him, Biden and the DNC are doing everything they can to wipe the candidates off the map and say only Biden. And in many ways, the U.S. is a backwards country. And now, who do I support in the primaries? I mean, there is Marianne Williamson. She ran once before back in 2020. At the time, I had supported Bernie. But she says how a lot of his platform policies, and which I agree with. But although from I understood, from I've heard that behind the scenes there's a little bit of our campaign staff let's put those. So there's an article written by a reporter. Her name is I hope I'm getting her last name right. Her name is Jen Dyes. I can link to that article in the in the description box as soon as I find it and all that. But it kind of explains what's going on behind the scenes. What it's said to be anyway. But it's probably going to explain things better than I could. But I don't know. But I'd like to always get behind candidates I believe in and who share my values. But I don't know. So, but we'll see what happens. I know there's also Dean Phillips from Minnesota who's running for my heard he's a Joe Manchin style Democrat, and he's Joe Manchin's not a good candidate. So, politician, I should say. There's also RFK Jr. running. He was briefly running as a Democrat. Now he's running as an independent. He's not my cup of tea. Reason being is he's an anti-vaxxer, and the anti-vaxxer movement is bullshit. Whether the man has a chance of winning or not, the fact that he's anti-vax, that's a no-go for me. And I mean, it's bad enough that the anti-vax movement even exists, but to potentially have one be president, that's even worse. So, and if and possibly when he wound up dropping out, I don't think I really lose too much sleep over it. So, there's also Cornel West running, the intellectual, the professor. based on what I understand of him, he seems to be a very moral man. Um, and at first he was running with the People's Party, which if you could even call it that, because from what I understand is kind of shady, to say the least. Then he got some criticism for it, and then he switched to the Green Party, which is one of the third parties. But then he's running as an independent. You'd think he'd have a bit more of a shot of running against the as a Democrat, because there's only two main parties, Republicans and Democrats. Third parties don't have much of a shot because of how things are right now. We've got first past the vote, first past the post. And if we maybe had ranked choice voting, it might be better. It's only in two states, Maine and Alaska. So if we had it nationally, maybe. So, but it's kind of interesting, like if Cornel West went running for president, there may be a number of people you might think, oh, he's just some wise old sage who's with some good ideas, and I'm sure he's a very smart man. But since he's running for president, and regardless of if it has a chance or not, regardless, and say what you will about how he's choosing to do so, but the fact that he kind of shakes, it's the fact that he roused status quo's cage and all that, and he kind of, he frightens the status quo in some way or another. And they go about and smear him in some way or another, just like they smeared Jill Stein. Like, oh, she sat next to Putin, which, if I understand, all that's been debunked. It's just the fact that see an out of context picture. Oh, or oh no, or the fact that, or the idea that she somehow cost Hillary Clinton the election back in 2016. Oh, Jill Stein, you traitor, witch. Light off the establishment Kool-Aid, you guys, come on. But then again, it's easy to drink said Kool-Aid when you're economically well off in some way, even if you think you're trying to do right by people. Still, it's like imagine thinking Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are fire-breathing lefties when they're centrist neoliberal corporatists at this point. Maybe some tweaks from the edges, some good things here and there, but they know FDR. So, and that's probably why they screwed Bernie Sanders over not once but twice, because he shook up the status quo. And probably because of that, he's not president. Joe Biden is. And speaking of all that, we have Donald Trump, who's somehow leading the polls. He's running for president again and he's got 91 criminal charges. He's got this, that, and the other. And he's still leading. Going back to 2016, I can understand to some extent why people may have voted for him, at least if you go by the economic populism. But just at this point in time, I don't get it. Just Donald Trump is a monster. He is. But somehow he got such a tight grip over. I don't believe in voter shaming. I really don't. I try not to. But even that's just, I think at this point, I don't get the appeal. So, just as that to say, given how corrupt the man is. So, anything else I've heard about that was worth talking about? I still remember hearing, and a weird transition. I know. I remember hearing about that one ship that went underwater, was the one to look for the Titanic, and then went on imploding and all that. Yikes. Yeah, I guess the youngest I know was 19 years old, and everyone else were a bunch of billionaires and all that. But just, I guess, just a prime example of Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So, I don't know, man. So, but I guess with all that said, I guess another odd transition now. Is there anything else that has been going on recently? in my life, well, in terms of Christmas, I went to church. I spent it with one of my uncles. Yeah, well, on my uncle's mom's side, and then afterwards I went to my brother's house. Yeah, and then for New Year's Eve, I was actually out of the house for once. There's an American Legion not too far from here because it's for like if you're not familiar with what the American Legion is, for kind of like a fraternity for like military vets. Both my granddads were military men. On dad's side, my grandfather was in the Coast Guard. On mom's side, my other grandfather was in the Army. The one that's not too far from here in my house, and my granddad on my dad's side was a member. We went up there and hung out. We did so after church, and then I came home and all that. So I did that. So and here I am right now, a couple days into the new year. So yeah. So that's what's up. So I guess with all that said, I imagine there's probably gonna be a few things I forget to say until after I log out. But I guess with all that said, um, just rate, comment, subscribe, and see you next time. Bye, guys.